Hey, wonderful people. Welcome back. Just to mention that if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. So whenever actually load up a new video lessons, you have access to that ASAP. And also a situation like this where we have a part two going, you can follow my lessons through it systematically. Okay, thank you for that. And let's get on with it. As I promised, differentiation rules part number two. And now we're going to focus on rule number 3 and number 4. Not that we don't use 1, 2, and 5, but 3 and 4 that are the hardest. Let's go through and work with two questions. Number 1. So question number 4. This is the question. We have this function x squared plus 4x plus 3 all over root x. We want to know the first derivative, and we are going to use the quotient rule of a differentiation right here, and I put it right there, which is I copied it from here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see what we can do. The first thing we have to do, we have to differentiate between the two. So remember the bottom here, now we have the root x is equal to g of x. So that's what we have. I rewrote the f of x and g of x for simplicity's sake. So now we're going to employ the quotient rule right here. So first we need to get the derivative of the top. Derivative of the top is 2x plus 4, and then whatever we get, we have to multiply it with the numerator. All right, and then negative, we rewrite the top, which is x squared plus 4x plus 3, but we take the derivative of the bottom. Now, and remember, square root of x is x to the 1 over 2. Remember the exponential rule. So times 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. All right, all of that over square root of x squared. Fantastic. Now we're going to go ahead and simplify the top. When you simplify the top, this is what you will get. Now, what I did, just multiply one term at a time and then make sure that this is also being multiplied through and not messing up the negative. Okay, everything on the second term must be negative in here. So here it is. And of course, we put everything on top of the square root of x squared, which is x. All right, next step. Let's see if we can simplify it more. Sure, we can. Now, notice that we have exponents, we have radicals. So let's change everything to exponents. That makes it easier and makes it more simplified, and then we can collect like terms. And that is what you will get. All right, so I combined 2x times the square root of x, that's 2 to the x, 2 times x to the 3/2, because that's x to the half, and then x to the half and x, that's 2 over 2. 2 over 2 plus 1/2 is 3/2. You do the same thing here, x to the half, I just changed it, and then rewrote everything else. And now we're going to go through and see what we can do if we can add and subtract like terms. Well, there are a few of them, so let's look at what are the like terms in here, and we can simplify. So let's look at a couple of things. Number one is look at the x to the third 3 over 2 and then x to the 3 over 2. These two are like terms. So we have this term and this term, like terms. We also have the x squared, sorry, x to the half and x to the half right there. So those two are like terms, and that one is on its own. So we have to now rewrite. So 2 plus a half, sorry, 2 minus a half, that's 3/2, right? So let's rewrite and then come back. And to simplify it more, I factored x out, all right, and from the top. And then the reason I did that because I want to get rid of that denominator if I can. So x divided by x is 1. I can do that. And then your final answer, y prime is equal to whatever you have in the bracket left. 3/2 x to the half plus 2 times x to the negative half minus 3/2 x to the negative 3/2. That is the derivative of the original function that we had. All right. And yeah, it is complicated and it's hard. So we got to go through the process and it's just mostly algebraic work. All right. Let's look at the second question. This function is an interesting function, h of t function, cube root of t times t plus 1. We are going to use the product rule of differentiation, but notice that you can actually use the addition and subtraction rule of the differentiation, where you can actually multiply the first term into the bracket and you should be fine. And then once you expand it, you can use additions or subtraction, in this case, addition rule of differentiation. For the purpose of this question, we are going to use the product law rule, okay, the product law. All right, so here it is, f of t. F of t is cube root of t, g of t is t plus 1 based on the original rule that we have. So let's go ahead and employ the rule. H prime of t equals, remember, cube root of t, let's actually rewrite that. Let's get on a side where cube root of t equals to t to the 1/3, okay? So that means that is 1/3 t to the negative 2/3, all right? So that's the derivative of that. Okay, so that is the first. Multiply that by t plus 1. We're going to leave the gt alone. And then plus, we're going to leave the t to the 1/3 alone. And then we're going to take the derivative of t plus 1, which is 1. Because t is only variable, and then that would becomes 1. And then derivative of 1 is 0. That's not going to change. Let's rewrite h prime of t equals to, when you simplify the h prime of t on the top, you get 1/3 t to the negative 2/3 times t plus 1 plus t to the 1/3. All right. And if you really want to change everything to the positive exponent or move it back to the radical, there's no need. But if you do want to, you can set it up. And the final answer for h prime of t will end up being t plus 1 over 3 times the cube root of t squared, and then plus cube root of t. All right, so that is the final answer to that. It's a very ugly uh, derivative, but that's what that is. You know, practice more and you get better and faster at it, but there is mostly algebraic operation that you have to deal with, and you have to stay focused so you don't make many mistakes. All right, if you found this useful, consider subscribing, like the video, add comments or ideas or thoughts in the description below, especially if you're feeling that you need to go over certain topics or lessons. Let me know and I will do my best. When you subscribe, any videos that I post on a weekly basis, you're going to get this first dip at it. You're going to see it right away. So I suggest you do that. Have a fantastic day. We'll chat soon. Bye.